Hi, it's been a while. Here in Germany, the summer is already gone, but this summer I wanted to knit something for the summer. Because often when I knit, I have the problem that in the summer it's too hot to have all the yarn, all the fabric around, and I don't like knitting in the summer, but I'm also always freezing in the summer. I'm somebody, if there's the slightest chance to be cold, I'm cold. So I thought about knitting something for the summer that is slightly warm but not too warm, and I found a 1940s pattern for a short-sleeved jumper. So I thought I will give it a try because I found it so cute. It has some 3 little bows here, and I just wanted to make it. And I had a little yarn over, and afterwards it was too little yarn because that's all what's left. But yeah, I will show you how I knitted it, and I hope you will enjoy. Okay, I have knitted the front part and the back part. They are now at the same level so that I can pin it here together or baste it together and make a first fitting, because I'm not sure if my waistline is big enough. It looks really small and I'm not sure if it will fit me, so I will make first fitting. And to fit it, I just basted it slightly together, and in the first fitting I was quite happy. This fits. This is okay. That's absolutely okay. And opened it again and went on. Because the knitting of itself isn't that interesting, I just show here the part where will be some ribbons with tiny bows. So I had to make some space so that I can pull the ribbon through that. I don't know why, but this row is the most difficult, and it's not because of the knitting, but because I'm not able to fluidly push the thread from one needle to the other, and this took so much time. But here is the row where I later will add the ribbon. And this was also the moment when I started knitting the sleeves. I realized that I don't have enough material and I wanted to know how much I have left to make the sleeves. That's why I took one of the bolts I had left and measured how much they weigh so that I can see how much material I have left for the other sleeve. It was 33 grams in total, and that's why I know that I have to reopen this sleeve, because I have to take away more than 30 stitches and I don't have enough material for all those rows. So yeah, I reopened this sleeve and remade it. And from here on it was pretty easy, right? No. This is one of the projects where I was really motivated in the beginning, and then I found this probably mistake and just didn't want to go on anymore. Yay! I had put the project aside and completely forgot to film it, so here's a little summary of what I did. First, I had knitted the whole upper part, front and back, and then I sewed it together, the shoulder parts and the sides, and I realized that my shoulders didn't end on my shoulder tips but somewhere here. So the whole thing was sliding down, like my shoulders were completely like, yeah, not like 1940s jumper should look like. And actually, the reason for that is really simple. I added some stitches for the bust line so that I have enough room here. But then I didn't take it away again for the shoulders, because my shoulders are, they are not that narrow, but they definitely not that wide as my bust line would suggest. So I had to take away a little bit here, and I just set the seam line from the arms to the inside a little bit. I think it was 2 centimeters, maybe, I will show you. And so I have a really big seam allowance here, and luckily it isn't that visible because I have shoulder pads also here, and it just adds to the volume a little bit in the arm. And yeah, so that's not that bad, and it definitely fits me better. That was the one thing I learned. And the other thing is the shoulder pads. I had no idea how to insert the shoulder pads. There was the instruction how to knit them, how to sew them together, and how to stuff them, but not where to add it in the jumper. And I just experimented a little bit to put it there, put it here, I just put it everywhere. I believed it would fit in the arm or on the shoulder. And finally I added it in the seam line of the sleeve, and now the shoulder pad is sitting in the sleeve and just poofs it a little bit up. And the last thing I did is adding the ribbons. It's a bobbin lace, and it took ages to prevent those edges from fraying. I sewed them in place with a cotton thread. That took quite long, but I think now I can wash it without any problems, and it will stay like this and won't fray. And I realized that I need something to wear with this jumper, so I decided to make a circle skirt, and I prepared it by washing and ironing. I almost didn't do that, but in the end I realized it was the better decision to do, because the fabric really did shrink and the wrinkles would have made the circle uneven. So here I just mark the waistline and the line where how long I want this skirt to be. It's just a little bit beneath the knee. And I already had folded it in 4 layers so that I could cut it out in just one step. And I also cut out ribbons for the waistline, and also I guesstimated a pocket, because of course this skirt needs a pocket at least to fit my phone inside. And it really was just guessing, and I'm surprised or happy that it worked out. Possibly the next time I would make the pocket a little bit deeper, just a little bit. I used a slightly lighter fabric for this because I wanted the pockets to be as invisible as possible, and with a lighter material that's just easier. Then I again guesstimated where the pockets should sit, pinned them in place on both sides at the same place so that I don't have any problems to sew them together. And that's what I did. I closed the side seam, sewed the pockets in, and basically this was done really fast. Okay, it was done fast after I had understood how to sew the pockets. First I had to sew in the pocket, then flip it over and again sewing over it so that the pocket will be flat to the inside at all times. And the last step was to sew the outer line completely closed, so that's the seam line and the outer line of the pocket, and then back on the seam line again, on the side line again. and now finishing the other side, I just had to close the side and insert the zipper. Then I was wondering how I could hide the seam at the bottom, because I really like invisible endings of skirts without a seam. So I just started ironing the seam allowance back, and then with an almost invisible stitch I sewed it in place. I take a little bit more material of the folded back seam allowance and only one little thread on the front side. It creates a little triangle with one little stitch on the front side, which will be visible, and the other will be on the seam allowance. And here is the complete outfit. Enjoy! And that's it. I learned that I have to remove the stitches that I add to the bust line so that my shoulders won't sit too far at the outside. And maybe the next time I will shorten the back a little bit, because right now I have some wrinkles in the back because I have just too much material, I think. But I don't know if I need it to move properly. So I think I will make a mock-up someday with something really stretchy to see if that's really too much material or just necessary. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a thumbs up or subscribe. And the next video will be up when the next project is finished. Bye!